Hi, second grade. I thought that since we were already in the middle of Tale of Despereaux, I didn't want to leave you hanging. So I thought I would do a chapter or two each day until the book is finished of Tale of Despereaux for you to listen to if you wanted to. If you don't, that's okay too. But it's just a chance for you to catch up on the story that we were already in. We left off with Ruscaro, if you remember that rat who was down in the dungeon, and he had just met a new prisoner that was coming in. He had gained his trust, he had made him feel comfortable, and then he did what every rat does and stole away the one thing that was making him happy or was giving him hope, and he took away his cloth. And so I'm going to read that last page just so that you can remember, kind of get your memory going, and then I'm going to read the next chapter. All right? Happy listening. So the last page that we left off on says, "But Ruscaro, reader, he was quick. He pulled the tablecloth through the bars of the cell and whoosh, like a magic trick in reverse. 'Hey!' shouted the prisoner. 'Bring that back. It's all I've got.' 'Yes,' said Ruscaro, 'and that is exactly why I must have it.' 'You dirty rat!' shouted the prisoner. 'Yes,' said Ruscaro, 'that is right. That is most accurate.' And he left the man and dragged the tablecloth back to his nest and considered it. What a disappointment this was! Looking at it, Ruscaro knew that Botticelli was wrong. What Ruscaro wanted, what he needed, was not the cloth, but the light that had been shining behind it. He wanted to be filled, flooded, blinded again with light. And for that, reader, the rat knew that he must go upstairs. Chapter 19. This is where we are starting our brand new chapter. Chapter 19 says, "Light, light everywhere." Imagine, if you will, having spent the whole of your life in a dungeon. Imagine that late one spring day you step out of the dark into a world of bright windows and polished floors, winking copper pots, shining suits of armor, and tapestries that are sewn in gold. Imagine. And while you're imagining things, imagine this too. Imagine that at the same time the rat steps from the dungeon into the castle, a mouse is being born upstairs. A mouse, reader, who is destined to meet this light-bedazzled rat. I think they're talking about Despereaux. But that meeting will occur much later. And for now, the rat is nothing but happy, delighted, amazed to find himself standing in so much light. "I," said Ruscaro, spinning dizzily from one bright thing to the next, "I will never leave. No, never. I will never go back to the dungeon. Why would I? I will never torture another prisoner. It is here that I belong." The rat waltzed happily from room to room until he found himself at the door of a banquet hall. He looked inside and saw gathered there King Philip, Queen Rosemary, and the Princess P, along with 20 noble people, a juggler, 4 minstrels, and all the king's men. This party, reader, was a sight for a rat's eyes. Ruscaro had never seen happy people. He had only known the miserable ones. Gregory the jailer and those who were consigned to his domain did not laugh or smile or even clink glasses with the person next to them. Ruscaro was enchanted. Everything glittered, everything. The gold spoons on the table and the jingle bells on the juggler's cap, the strings on the minstrel's guitars, and the crowns on the king's and queen's heads. And the little princess, oh, how lovely she was! How much like light itself! Her gown was covered in sequins that winked and glimmered at the rat. And when she laughed, and she laughed often, everything around her seemed to glow brighter. "Oh, really," said Ruscaro, "this is too extraordinary. This is too wonderful. I must tell Botticelli that he was wrong. Suffering is not the answer. Light is the answer." And he made his way into the banquet hall. He lifted his tail off the ground and held it at an angle and marched in time to the music that they were playing on their guitars. The rat, reader, had invited himself to the party. I guess we'll have to see what happens tomorrow in chapter 20.